meeting.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the August 17th meeting of Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission to order. We're going to ask all staff and participants to keep your microphones muted unless you're speaking. And because we're using Zoom, I'll be asking for questions at the end of each item, but at any point, please use the raise hand feature to be acknowledged at any other time. With that, we'll go to Amber for a roll call, please.
All right, Chair Morgan,
Here.
Vice Chair Manfor. I have absent Commissioner Duncan.
Here.
Commissioner Nunley. I have absent. Oh wait, she just came in. Hold on. All right, Commissioner Nunley, we're doing roll, so it's on you. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Osmany. Well, she's here, but stepped away. Commissioner Ramos.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Commissioner Stajabu.
Here.
Commissioner Starks.
Yes.
And Commissioner Wu.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome, everybody. There were no public comments last meeting to follow up on, so we'll go straight to public comments. Can you read the citizens' comment script, please?
Yes, persons wishing to address the commission on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. The commission cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting, but commissioners may briefly respond to statements made or questions raised by the public, ask for clarification from staff, refer the matter to staff, request staff to report back to the commission at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. Members of the public with questions are encouraged to contact staff before or after the meeting. To speak on an agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item. And it looks like we do have a speaker.
Okay.
Let's see. One moment, I'll bring him in. It looks like we have Gary Qualset. And you may start, Gary.
Hello, commissioners and SHRA staff. My name is Gary Qualset. I'm a small mom and pop landlord in Sacramento County. I have a small rental occupied by a tenant that has been severely impacted by the COVID-19 emergency. I'm trying to help them stay housed and not become homeless by not proceeding forward with the eviction process at this time. This has become extremely hard to do. However, the practices of the SHRA and the SHRA 2 program seem to be leading to the path of eviction, which is entirely opposite of the intended public policy of the whole program to avoid eviction and homelessness. I'd like to speak to you today about the administration of the current SHRA 2 Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Program and the extremely slow and long time frame to get any action. I come to you not simply to complain and plead for my tenant's application to be moved to the front of the line, but to try to partner with you and present some suggestions that could lead to solutions to help SHRA and the 60,000 or so parties, both tenants and landlords, that are affected by this incredibly slow process. I've spoken with staff at SHRA about the challenges and appreciate the feedback. Monthly production rates seem to be incredibly low, and there are many applications still pending with real people behind them that truly need help. This program is approaching 2 years old. I've also spoken with my Sacramento County Board of Supervisors member, Sue Frost, and after her office's correspondence with your staff, it was suggested the quickest way to try to get action was for me to communicate directly with the commissioners of the SHRA. So I'm here today with my comments for your thought, consideration, and action. To summarize, my tenant and I submitted an application in October 2021, about 11 months ago now. I frequently monitored the website for updates and asked my tenant if they had heard anything. Nothing. In February of this year, a waiting list for applications that have not been notified of eviction was created. This has basically become a collection of applications to not get any consideration in a timely manner. presented public comment at your April 6th commission meeting that was read into the record. However, the first 5 minutes of the meeting had audio problems, so the recording on the web available to the public does not include most of the comment. My suggestions today are that SHRA and SHRA 2 need to explore and take different approaches on how they are prioritizing and completing application reviews. Getting creative and thinking outside of the box on how to get application reviews done is needed. Asking for and getting help or a redirection of existing permanent staff, either within the agency or from the city, county, or state could be a possibility. The program has admin costs allocated to it. Those funds don't need to, it can be paid to whomever. They don't need to stick with just SHRA. They can subcontract with other agencies with experience. For instance, the State Housing and Community Development Department via a local agency agreement, or maybe work overtime, redirect internal staff, use focus time for staff, meaning no calls, no emails, no meetings or interruptions, kind of like power hours for staff to get their core work done. Revisit the review process. Doing preliminary pre-screenings of apps for completeness or primary eligibility could help and get responses back to tenants and landlords much quicker. This could clear out ineligible or incomplete applications. Consider a transfer of the program to another local government agency with staff and resources to get it done. Ask the city or county housing authorities for assistance. Transfer or give the program and the admin funding to do it to the state HCD that has handled a much higher volume of applications throughout the state and got them done. They've dispersed over $4.2 billion and processed over 340,000 applications. My tenant and the 60,000 or so other tenants and landlords in Sacramento County can't just rest assured that SHRA 2 is doing everything within its power to get funds dispersed. We need action and resolution. Partnering and asking for help isn't a bad
Hey,
thing.
Gary, you've reached 3 minutes. Can you please conclude?
Yeah, I'm almost done. Thank you. Can you please provide leadership and guidance on this problem? Keeping people housed is far easier than getting them rehoused or developing new housing. I ask that you please take all this into consideration and have this topic placed on your agenda as an item for discussion and action at your next commission meeting in September. Thank you very much for your time and listening to me and your serious consideration of this request. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comment?
I do not have any other hands raised.
Okay. We'll move on with the consent items.
And I have a Commissioner Manfor here. I finally see him. He's joining now.
Okay.
So consent. All matters listed on consent are to be approved with one motion unless a commission member or the public requests that separate action be taken on a specific item.
Okay. We only have one item on consent, I believe, and that would be the minutes from the previous meeting. Anyone wish to?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for consent. Amber?
Okay, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Cecile Nunley.
And I'm sorry, who's seconded?
Daryl Wu.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for waving your hands, guys.
Like trying to look back and forth. Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Chair Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner or Vice Chair Manfor.
Yes.
Thank you. And sorry about the technical difficulty there. Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Nunley,
Aye.
Commissioner Osmany.
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't here.
Okay. And Commissioner Ramos.
Aye.
Commissioner Ross,
Aye.
Commissioner Stajabu,
Aye.
Commissioner Starks,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you much. Our next item tonight is the presentation, the virtual tour of Sacramento Housing Redevelopment Projects.
All right, so I have here, I know usually we started doing the in-person tours a few years ago, but we have since moved to this virtual tour. So we're going to go ahead and show you all these projects and accomplishments we've done in the last year. And after this 5-minute video, staff is available to ask any questions you guys have about any of these projects. I will bring that video up for you.
Recording.
All right, sorry about the sound. I'm not sure why that did not come up, but I will send everyone the link to that YouTube video after the meeting, and then I'll also put it on the website.
Yes, prior to the meeting, we did receive notice that AT&T was having some connection problems. So that may be the reason why the audio was just not coming through.
All right, was there any questions on the video?
I think Commissioner Morgan, you're on mute.
Thank you. It would not be a Zoom meeting without somebody being on mute and talking. So I appreciate your heads up because I didn't notice that. So, questions of commissioners, staff is available? Other than where is the music?
Yeah, that's what we were saying, is that we were having some, oh, you did hear we were having connection problems.
Yes.
So.
I could hear, it's just my microphone was muted. So, all right.
We do look forward to in the future when we'll have an opportunity to kind of go out and do in person so that you can see a lot of the good work that's happened, but not this year, still virtual.
Okay, I see Commissioner Duncan has her hand up. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, I was seeing a number of dates in that video about things opening late 2021 or sometime within 2022. Have those dates changed at all from what's in that video?
You know, some have opened, you know, for instance, I know Lavender Courtyard has opened and is leasing up. Others are in the process of, so.
Okay.
But for the most part, they're pretty much on track.
Thank you.
So have they fixed the grass over there at Marisol Village Park?
You say fix the grass.
It was brown.
And it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It will go back green during, you know, more of the springtime, but it's supposed to be brown this time of year. Plus, conserving water.
I always envision a park as a place where you can go and play and the grass would be green.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Any public comment on this item?
No, we do not have any.
Okay. Well, that takes us to item 3, the budget workshop, Administrative Services Department.
Yes. So today we are continuing our discussions, our budget workshops, and now we'll start hearing from the individual departments who will kind of break down the budget from their each respective areas. And tonight we have our Deputy Executive Director, Jim Shields, is going to do an overview for the admin budget. So let me go ahead and tee up your presentation. There you go.
Good evening, Commissioners, Commissioner Morgan. I'm Jim Shields, as Lachelle said, Deputy Executive Director for Administration, and I'm here tonight to present the Administrative Department's 2003 budget, but also to talk about some of the accomplishments that we have achieved in 2022. So this slide basically shows the on the left hand that administration departments, their total expenditures are projected to be a little over 3% of the $276 million budget of the agency. And that's similar to what we were last year, similar percent. And on the real estate and construction department, which is also part of administration, they're a little less than 1% of the total budget for their administrative costs. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was keeping the agency moving during a pandemic. And coming out of the third full year of the worldwide pandemic, the agency continues to be faced with many challenges. And I wanted to share with you how we, the agency, responded to these challenges. At the start of the year, the agency faced a surge of the Omicron variant, and the agency recognized it would be facing more challenges. One of the biggest goals going into the year was working on the agency's reopening plan and to ensure that we responded to reopening with the safety of our employees, as well as our clients at the forefront of our minds. We started the year with an evaluation of our current policies in regards to telework and in-office scheduling, as well as mapping out a plan for safely opening our offices and getting back to somewhat normal operational business. We opened additional office spaces at the Elk Towers, which is a downtown office, for our SHRA program, and to better promote social distancing and to continue to work on balancing our telework and hybrid schedules, as well as kept up with the changing, never-ending protocols for COVID that are mandated by Cal OSHA and the county. So what I'd like to do is spend a couple minutes on the diversity of the organization. And last year I presented this information for the first time, but we are in the 5th year of our 5-year action plan for our focus on diversity and inclusion. And the mission is to build and lead a diverse workforce and inclusive workplace to deliver outstanding public services to our communities we serve. And so this basically shows you where we were on the diversity at the beginning of the 5-year plan and where we are today in 2022. The next slide, we want to talk a little bit about our accomplishments and what the goals were for the organization when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And our goals are pretty simple, but they're pretty powerful. And the first one is to have a workforce that is broadly reflective of our community. The second is to identify and address barriers within the organizational systems. And the third is attracting and retaining a talented workforce skilled at working in an inclusion environment. Our goal is to have another 5-year plan, and we're working on that right now to begin in the year 2023. And the reason I show you this slide is to show you the changes and the hard work brought about by our executive director and our staff on making this a much more inclusionary and diverse organization. And just to bring up a couple of the numbers, the percentages haven't changed a lot, but the numbers of people have. For example, on the Asian, Native, Hawaiian, it's gone from 29 employees to 38. So it's quite a substantial jump. On Black and African American, well, it went from 21 to 28%. It went from 41 to 73 employees. So we've made great strides in changing the organization to look the way our community looks. What I'd like to do now is to introduce the staff that directly reports to me that makes up the administrative departments. And they're online today. So if we have questions afterwards, they're available for questions. But Vicki Smith, you all know her as the former clerk, and she is now a senior management analyst working on some very special projects that are in support of the operations of the organization. We have Mike Taylor, who's been with us for quite some time. He is the director of real estate and construction. Amber, you all know Amber. She's our new clerk, and we're really glad to have her here. Tracy Knighton is a long-term employee who's our human resource manager. Mike Snyder is our director of information technology, and Sylvester Donaldson is our procurement manager. And I wanted to thank them for all the hard work they've done for the year and appreciate everything. So a little bit about each department. The Human Resource Department has made several changes to their operations in order to successfully manage through the pandemic. And one of them is to convert all skill testing to online. We used to do it at the organization, now everything's online. And we've created online training for all new employees. So instead of having to go to trainings off-site, a lot of them are online now. And some of the key initiatives in 2022 is managing for employee retention. So the agency has partnered with a new training provider and launched a manager assessment to determine our strengths and deployed a 6-session management training academy to build on our strengths. The agency also launched a Gallup Q12 survey to help identify employees' job satisfaction and engagement factors. We're currently looking at the information that was provided to us, and we're working on following up with focus groups with all employees. And we're going to get the results back in the next month or so. Our goal is to, in HR, is to continue with the diverse and racial equity training for all managers and the strength assessments for our employees. The next department is the IT department, and they've been busy all year. And what I've listed is some of the most impactful projects that they've worked with to help the agency move along during the pandemic. They've continued to technology enhancements, have streamlined our processes and made it easier for our clients to access their documents related to the wait list, their applications and their files. In 2022, the IT team continued to migrate to cloud-based technology, which includes our phone system and the MS Office 365. That's been a very interesting change, but we're making those changes. So they've been very instrumental in process improvements for the organization. The next department is procurement, and their focus has been to streamline the organization so that their systems are in support of our minority and small business organizations. And we really want to make sure that we created a more friendly experience in working with SHRA. So to do that, they've automated their procurement ordering process. We've converted to a new procurement process called OpenGov. It's much more intuitive for small business to do business with us instead of some of the larger procurement RFQ and RFI systems that are out there. We've expanded our outreach to MeeBee and Section 3. So those are a number of the things that they've been working on. Next is the real estate and construction department. And they've played an integral role in the RAD program by designing and providing construction management. And I know you've seen a lot when Mark Hamilton presents to you about RAD. We're behind the scenes working with Mark on the construction side. We've also completed the last of the 76, what we call Welcome Home program. And so they've finalized 76 single family homes that we have rehabbed over the last 5 years. And we've made them available for sale to low-income families. And it's been a very successful program. And we thank Christine Weikert's department for working with us on that. And we now have finished all of them. We now have 3 more left for sale. And so we're looking to make sure that we get some good residents to go into those programs. And the last department is Amber's, which is the clerks. And she's been really, really busy for the last couple of months that she's been here. She's introduced a new public records request portal, which is online right now. She's created a commissioner onboarding in NeoGov, and some of you may have already been able to participate in that. And she's working on an agenda management software so that instead of getting hard copies or email copies of staff reports, everything basically is online for the staff instead of hard copies. And she worked at, instead of the format we had before, which is a Zoom format, we're now in a webinar format, similar to what the city and county have for your meetings. And then she worked on public request policy, which we've implemented, and a new update on the conflict of interest, which is basically the 700. So those are the departments that I work with, and I'm very proud to be able to work with that staff, and I really appreciate what they do. And so I'm available, or my staff's available for any questions that you may have.
So just before you have any questions, I just wanted to kind of just put a little finer point on the administration department. And really, you know, we have been working extremely hard. Unlike a lot of other different government agencies, SHRA and a majority of their staff have been here, have been working from the office or out in the field to continue to provide housing services for our staff. HR has done an outstanding job in terms of really, you know, getting all of the requirements that we have as a result of working in a pandemic and making sure that we're in compliance with the Sacramento County. And it has been quite an ordeal. I mean, it has not just been business as usual, and it has been a lot of hard work and and a lot of things that we've had to just build literally from scratch. The testing of employees, to making sure that everyone is safe, making sure that we have the buildings are clean, responding to all of the emergencies. All of those things, really require an extreme amount of effort. And without the administration department, IT literally has had to set up entire offices, overnight, and getting out equipment so that people can telework immediately. The list goes on and on. So I can't emphasize how difficult it is to manage during the pandemic. And with that comes a lot of turnover of staff. And I know that we did hear from one of the clients, who was frustrated, and I understand that frustration, but I think sometimes what's lost on folks is that it is a Herculean effort to manage in the midst of a pandemic. But we are still doing that and still continuing to serve.
All right. I see that Mr. Ross has his hand up. Go ahead, Martin.
Hey. Hello, everyone. Hey, I just wanted to commend. You have echo?
A little bit.
Okay, my apologies.
There.
Is it gone?
Yeah, much better.
Better.
Okay. I wanted to commend SHRA on its diversity goals. I am also the chair of the EEOAC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Advisory Committee.
Martin, if I could real quick lean forward when you're speaking and the echo goes away.
Okay, is it going away now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what I wanted to do is I wanted to commend SHRA on its diversity goals. I am the chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Advisory Committee, EEOAC, and for 2022, and not everyone achieves the goals that SHRA does. I think it's pretty important. I know in some of the committee meetings that I've asked folks to take a look at SHRA's model and see if it can be duplicated. We're trying to tackle that, but there's a few obstacles through the commission right now. But the second part, I think, is the Gallup Q12. One of our committee members has suggested that to be administered, throughout the county. And so I have, I'm going to work on it from my end, but I will definitely be mentioning it in our next meeting coming up next week. But I think it would be great if SHRA, Executive Director Dozier, if you could, pass that on as a best practice. So at least when you come before the EOAC and say, hey, this is what we're doing, because one of our members is really suggesting it, and if it has produced good results for SHRA, maybe it can be helpful for the rest of the county. So well done on those two endeavors, increasing numbers and also using some tools to help achieve that.
Thank you.
Okay, I see Commissioner Nunley has her hand up. Go ahead, Cecile.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the presentation. I thought it was very helpful and informative on many levels, and I appreciate the staff. I know all of you work very, very hard, and during the time of that pandemic, as Executive Director mentioned, it has been so hard to all of a sudden you have to go from nothing to create offices all over the place that are remote. So I can appreciate that. I do want to make a quick request though on any of the presentations. I know that it's challenging for staff, but if we could have those beforehand, even if it's the day of, we still haven't been getting those lately beforehand. And so it's nice to be able to take notes and everything else as the presentation is going, or if you have questions that you want to, in a specific area, maybe you want to ask questions of or something like that. So I would really appreciate it if we could get those. And I know it's very difficult for staff, and I understand, but even if it's the day of the meeting, an hour or two beforehand, if we could just get those slides would be very, very helpful. But thank you, and thank you to the staff. I know all of you work so hard, so thank you very much.
Okay. One other improvement I see that we could make, I'm just going to pick on Jim a little bit. Try not to match the background color.
I know,
You're a ghost of yourself almost.
I know. I'm sorry. I know until I sat here.
Yeah, I don't know what color your background is, but apparently your shirt's the same color. So, nah, other than that, really appreciate the report there, Jim.
I'll change next time.
I was just distracted a little bit as I was watching. So, any other questions? Any public comment?
We have none.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to the executive director's report.
I have a few items. The next commission meeting is scheduled for September 7th. Also wanted to indicate that we have a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow for 4995 Stockton Boulevard, and it will be hosted by Councilmember Eric Guerra and Mercy Housing. That is a very huge affordable housing development. So it's really exciting that we're going to be able to have a groundbreaking ceremony. That's tomorrow at 9:30. So encourage any of the commissioners who are available to come out and attend that. And then I also wanted to follow up on our discussion regarding teleconferencing last meeting. As you recall, we did talk about, going back to in-person meetings. Is it possible to do hybrid meetings? So we have had an opportunity to do some research, and the commission room is equipped to hold hybrid meetings. So that's the good news, so that we could have commissioner, staff, and the public in person or by Zoom, which is how the city and the county are operating. And we could do that, obviously, until AB 361 ends. However, bad news is some of the cameras aren't working, so we have a limited view. So the camera company is going to work with us over the next several weeks to troubleshoot the issues. So we don't have an estimated time yet until when those will be working, but until then, we'll continue in our virtual format, and I'll keep you updated on the status of that. The City of Sacramento, all of the other commissions and committees for the City of Sacramento are continuing, just as information for you, in a 100% teleconference with Zoom for the time being. So all of the other commissions are still meeting in a Zoom format, and they don't have an anticipated date for hybrid. So just wanted to make sure. So we'll continue to really work on the technology, and then, give you updates and circle back as to our next steps. That's my executive director's report. And then, Gail, I have one thing at the end of the meeting as well.
Okay. I don't have a report, so that opens it up to any comments and questions of commissioners. Andres?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up from the public comment that we heard regarding the SHRA program. Just curious if there would be an opportunity to get sort of a presentation or an overview about that program, current status. Just as a new commissioner, I would love to learn more about sort of where the status of the program is and how any of those issues are being addressed.
We'll be able to, our procedure is always to follow up for any public comment, and then we report out at the next meeting. But in addition to that, especially since we have new members, we'd be happy to kind of just do a walkthrough of the program, the priorities, where we are, what's being spent, so that you just have the information as well. And we can do that at the next meeting.
All right. Martin? You're muted still.
I said that is, thank you. That's exactly what my comment was going to be about. And I'm glad that that item is going to be agendized. Yes, I'm just curious to see, because last year when the subject came up, I know we had, I know you just mentioned that there's a shortage of staff and so forth, but I'm curious. I wanted to ask the gentleman a question, but I know we're not supposed to comment on those things. But why? I mean, are there people being evicted because we can't respond? The last time I heard, the process was when someone was identified in a situation like that, that they would be moved up to the top of the agenda and those of the waiting list as they're going to court and so forth, and their situation would be handled. I'm curious.
Or under eviction or have been served a notice are prioritized, but as you heard from the landlord, his tenant is not under eviction. And so those who are the ones who are prioritized. They don't go in order of when we receive them. They go in order of who is most at risk of losing their housing.
So is there some sort of notifications that can go out so that, you know, tenants and others can really understand that they get mailed out to say that they can stay?
That is communicated to everyone. Yes.
Everyone is in there. Okay.
So Martin, I think we'll need to put that item on the agenda rather than discuss it at this meeting.
Oh, am I discussing? I'm just making some comments. Is that, am I not allowed to do that?
We're borderline, so.
Okay, but I think so it will be agendized and okay, then I'll leave it at that then, but I think I can make those comments.
You have some very valid questions there, and I think it would be good to have it on the agenda so we can look at it.
All right, there we go.
So, I just don't want to cross the line with the Brown Act.
That's fair.
Any others that want to encroach on the edge of the line? Okay, some of you got that. Hey, Sam, sometime I need to talk to you about refrigerators. Offline.
I'm sorry, we can't talk about that now. We have to table it for next week there. But
Thank you, Sam. With that, I'll go back to the executive director.
So I'd like to close this commission meeting in memory of our beloved Karen Wallace, who passed away today at her home, surrounded by her loving family after suffering a prolonged illness, and she lost her courageous battle. Karen was with the agency for 20 years and recently retired in 2021 as the Director of Public Housing. We will dearly miss Karen, more than words can express. Not just our coworker, but a good friend as well. Her outgoing personality, her commitment and inspiration to our mission will be dearly missed. A warm individual, more importantly, a loving mother and a grandmother. While we mourn the loss of a colleague, we tribute and celebrate a life that was well lived, a life of commitment to helping others in need. Not many leave behind a legacy of such caring, a dedication, and accomplishment. And our heartfelt condolences to Karen's family and friends, and wish them courage and strength for their loss. And with that, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Karen Denise Wallace.
So we are adjourned in memory of Karen Wallace. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.